What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today, a very warm welcome to Ian Nelms and Eshom Nelms, the writers and directors of Fatman, a movie which I recently reviewed on the channel and gave it a really good rating as my new rating system. I think you got the rank of Jedi Master or Jedi Knight. I can't remember, but it was a decent rating, so way above average, definitely above average. But this is my first like proper interview with directors and writers, and especially of a big Hollywood blockbuster film. So I'm nervous, but I'll try my best, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Yeah. But first of all, I'd like to congratulate Ian and Eshom on creating, I guess, a really great and original Christmas flick, and definitely adding to the wish list of Christmas films over the years. And I think this is a high contender for one of probably easy top three of mine for Christmas films. If not, it was just a great film in general and really fun and original idea. So congrats to you guys about that.
Dude, thank you very much. And thanks for having us on, man. It's great.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it, dude. Looking forward to this chat.
Thank you, thank you. You guys, like you guys are so energetic. I mean, when Eshom came on the call straight away, he's just so happy. Already good vibes. I can tell this is going to be a great interview. But like, yeah, we got the USA all across LA, and then Australia here, Sydney. So let's smash it on today, guys. But
we're coast to coast, baby. We're coast to coast right now.
Coast, let's go. But yeah, I've discussed with Ian already via the DMs we've been talking, and we've discussed a lot about the film, what it was like to work with Mel, Walton, and a few of the other actors, and what it was like creating a film of this magnitude. Obviously, starting off small. I don't want to discuss too much of that today, but I didn't actually know that Eshom was going to be with us as well. I thought it was just going to be Ian, so double whammy.
Right.
Great to have both brothers on.
Surprise!
But yeah, maybe directed towards a bit Eshom, just a couple questions about the film. I'm not going to discuss it too much. I know you guys have already discussed probably 1,000 questions on it, but I'm trying to be unique here, something different. But yeah, Eshom, just a quick like general question. How was the experience of filming Fatman? And I was speaking to Ian before about transitioning from making those small films to finally getting a big budget film. I think the budget was around 20 mil, if that's not right.
Well, that's what they tell. That's what they say. That's what it says on paper.
That's what Wikipedia says, but that says it. Yeah.
You know, Wikipedia is not the gospel. I think we did this for a little bit under 10 mil, which was to your point. It's still the biggest movie we've done to date. But I will say this: look, with every movie, there's this misunderstanding that with more money it gets easier, and that's not the case at all. It's every one of them's difficult. They've got their own trials and tribulations. It's just different problems per picture. But this one was an amazing experience. You know, you just get a little bit more to play with, and you get a little bit bigger canvas to work on. And you know, obviously, the acting collaborators, you know, are different in a budget of this size. So I don't know. It's not. It feels like the same process. You know, it's just more money, but it's very, very similar process throughout every movie.
And it's probably there's an extrapolation kind of going on, like our production team on the previous movies, like say on Lost on Purpose or Waffle Street, you know, something that's sub $1 million. Like, you know, everyone's like the production, like the actual building budget is probably, you know, $10,000 or under on all of those films, and Esh built the cars, and he put some of his own money into those, so those don't quite count for Lost on Purpose. But you know, actually, like building a set or building a this or building a that, it's under 10,000. I think Lost on Purpose probably had a bigger building budget than Waffle Street, just because we put a lot into the set design of that. But I know that when we did a Small Town Crime, like. I can't remember how much Lauren and Kurt had to work with. They were our production designers and art director of that show, but it wasn't a lot. I think I know that there was just the two of them, and they would hire on people here and there for the bigger tasks on the movie. And then whereas with something like Fatman, where we were pretty production heavy because we had to like build a factory for the elves, and we had to like sort of outfit everyone's house in a proper way, and like we had these really like. We're able to do a little bit more of the specifics in a script, because when you write something, you're like, oh, I want this like awesome car, and I want this I want this in his apartment, and he's got this specifically because of this, and it's going to play later. And in some of the other movies, you can't really do that. You're like, okay, we had that, but like, what can we actually afford? And then, but in Fatman, you know, there was a lot less of that. We didn't get everything we wanted, but we were able to actually pinpoint some specific stuff and still call in some favors to get some stuff done. But we were able to do just a little bit more. And I think that's what Esh is talking about when it's like, okay, and we had like a full art team actually building these places out. Whereas in Small Town Crime, it was 2 people for the most part doing practical, you know, like set design.
That little bit of more, I guess, extra like revenue or just extra budget can help a bit more. But I think me and Eshom were discussing before. I think with Endgame, we're just talking about like just Marvel in general. We're just quickly glossing over it, and we're talking about. I had my opinion on it, and then Eshom had his opinion on it. But obviously, when you get to those big budget, 300 mil plus films, you think it'd be a lot easier, as Eshom was discussing. But it's not the case. Like, it's obviously very stressful, and then you have to deal with a lot more people as well. And I was stressed making my short film for uni this semester. I was just the producer on a little short film. Like, I can't imagine what it's like to be helming like a major production like that. But obviously, I guess with experience, you get to become more composed on set, and you get to start to, I guess, create a culture or working environment that's gets everyone collaborative as well, and they just create a camaraderie with the cast, crew, everyone. That's what I had to do on set as well as producer, and that was the best thing because once we had that camaraderie and connection, everyone just worked well together. And then as with Fatman, you're discussing the budget with the elves and the factory. I thought I enjoyed it. I thought you did fantastic with the budget you had. Now saying that was 10 million only, and I just thought the real design of the elf factory, and it's just really old fashioned and really went down with how Chris Kringle was portrayed in the film. Like, no. But that was just my opinion on it.
No, I think, look, we had just enough, right? Like for Fat Man, we had just enough, and that was sort of the vision that we had going into it. It was like it's very utilitarian. There's no big splashes, you know. We're not gonna go out Christmas Chronicles. So we're gonna do our own lane and our own interpretation of what a grounded Santa universe might be.
But I will say that the script when we wrote it, thank goodness it was kind of designed that way. You know, it was kind of like when we wrote it, we knew we were making kind of a contemporary Western in a way. So like all the stuff was very practical and it was very down to earth, and like that was our spin on is that we were going to really ground the shit out of it, so that when you watch this movie, you could imagine it happening somewhere around you. And where we're from, it looks very similar to where we grew up. You know, sans the snow. You go a little further east, you will hit some snow in the Rockies and sequoias and whatnot. But yeah, it was like that ranch style life. Like we're very familiar with that, so we were able to sort of pull a lot from our childhood and growing up to layer that in. And yeah, I mean, thank goodness it lent itself to that, because when the splashes came, they weren't such big splashes that we couldn't afford them or couldn't get to them. It was just like, oh, well, we need a little bit here. We need this truck, and we were able to pull it off.
I would also say, like, I think you right there just said something really on point, Elaine. That's that when you were doing your project, you brought a positive attitude and a good vibe and a good energy on set. And man, that's the most important thing you can do.
It's a must.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's too hard. It's too hard otherwise, right? It's too hard otherwise, right?
I know, like, you hear stories of some actors sometimes being hard to work with, and I don't think it just generates a good like vibe on set. You can't have that negative vibe, especially when you're creating a film, and especially as the budget gets higher, you're trying to put the best thing out there, or like the best product out there for people to watch and enjoy. And if it doesn't start from the back, this is my take. If it doesn't start well from the back, it's not going to end up well at the front. That's what I think.
Yeah,
you're gonna go far, my friend. You're
exactly.
gonna go
far. It's interesting because
it's better.
Sorry, go ahead.
If you have like sort of like, for example, you're writing a script or something, and you have like writers' disagreements or something like that. If you don't sort it out at the back first, and then it ends up being on set straight off the bat, say like you're filming one scene, and then you disagree with someone, and then the other crew members start to see that you're disagreeing, and then you're not gelling there, and then it rubs off sort of everyone else. So
yeah.
That's why when I made my small uni film, we tried. I had a good relationship with the director, and then obviously our uni tutor. But we had like, and one of my members here, my ADs, actually upstairs. But we tried to have as many meetings and get together and just sort of made sure everyone was on the same page, and we got to know each other first. Like we knew this person was from a different university, but then once we started gelling together, everything worked well on set, and then I couldn't think of one bad issue we had on set, but that was just my experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, you're doing the right things, and I mean, I can't tell you how many, like every movie we've made, you can't get too nervous about making mistakes or fires popping up or problems popping up, because that's literally just the job. It's like Esh and I talk about it all the time, and that when we're making a movie, like half of the job is getting to do the fun creative stuff, and you're out there working with the actors and putting the movie together, and literally the other half, it's literally that much, is putting out fires of some
Yeah,
sort. And whether that's like,
yeah,
oh my god, the tire blew on the
yeah,
car, and like, how are we going to get this thing
yeah,
rolling? And then like, oh my god, like the trailer doesn't work, and then oh shit, the camera went down. Like, oh my god, like, everything happens while you're making a movie, because it's that law of like, if it's gonna happen, it will
yeah.
happen. If it can't happen, it will, and it does.
I, I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's literally solving problems with a smile. That's what you have to do.
Yeah,
Exactly, and trying to be cool under pressure, especially
yeah,
as a producer. Ellie, you're just like, okay, everybody relax. We're gonna figure
yeah,
this out. You know, and it always goes smoother that way.
yeah,
Whether you solve it or not, it always goes
yeah,
smoother that way. You're gonna find those solutions better, easier, and quicker if everyone just, okay, everybody just relax. We're gonna
yeah.
figure this out. Get the camera from blah blah blah, and it'll be here in 2 hours or
Like,
whatever. You know, like it's always a solution.
like whatever happened on set, like I always just anything whatever happened, I just tried to go in with a positive vibe. Like everything's gonna be solved. I had to appreciate the experience. It was my first time, and obviously doing that first time, I'll get onto it soon. But producing, I specialized in screenwriting the semester before, and producing my own film, and I chose to not to direct my own film, the short film I wrote, because I had my law subjects as well. I didn't want to sort of to take a hit on the law side. But
Mhm.
when I was speaking with Ian in the DMs, it's sort of just like, man, you'd rather starve and do what you love than be stuck like sort of in an office for the rest of your life. And I just learned to appreciate, especially appreciate that experience. And as soon as I got on set, I was just loving it from start to finish. And I don't know if this is a good analogy, but as Ian was saying before, like it's sort of like training, where if you go to the gym, 50 or 60% of it is like what you put out, and then 50 or 60% as well is like what you eat. So what you do behind the scenes to get that final product as your body. So I don't know if that's a good analogy, but as well, it's like your diet, what you do behind the scenes outside the gym, and it's just as hard as when you train like sort of on set as well. You have to get the behind the scenes stuff right as well.
200%.
Yeah.
You're spot on for that.
And it's a good motivation for me as I enter this post 2021 makeover that I'm going to try to shake off all of the bad habits I've accumulated in 2020.
Well, it's funny, you were talking a little bit about, you said like sometimes you have a tough actor to work with, or somebody's usually somebody on set. It could be even behind the camera. We've had that as well. Someone behind the camera or in front of the camera is having a hard time or having a rough run, or you think they're being a prima donna or something. I mean, usually, and every time we've ever had that happen on a set, thank goodness it hasn't been in the last couple of movies, but
Yeah.
in any way, but in our earlier stuff, we really feel like the biggest problem with some of those moments, whether it's an actor or someone behind the camera, it's usually like there's a certain worry or insecurity, or like that they think it's going to be less than for some reason, and that could be that the actor doesn't think they're going to get enough takes to where they all feel satisfied in front of the camera, like, oh, I know I got it, let's move on, great. And there was a moment I remember on one of our movies where we were like, hey, don't worry, like I remember the actor was very anxious, and we were just like, oh, hey, like, we're going to make sure that you get until you feel, we're going to shoot until we feel good and you feel good. And I remember after that actor was just like, ice all the way through the rest of the
Makes
movie.
it feel
like he was,
comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah.
And talking to them and trying to find the problem is important as well, because there's a lot of movies we've been on, and not even that were ours, where people are sort of running around like chickens with their head cut off because they're scared that this person's upset, even if it's like a high profile DP or something. Oh my God, have you talked to him? You know what the problem? No, I have no idea, but he's just it's like, okay, we'll just, let's slow it down. Let's talk to this guy or gal, and let's just figure it out, because there is something that you can solve for them,
I think it's important that we discuss like sort of the behind the scenes aspect, because everyone just sees what's produced obviously on screen, and then sometimes you hear if a movie goes bad, then all the stories start coming out. Oh, there was this problem behind the scenes. Oh, we didn't get along with this actor. But during the press, they always talk about, oh, it was great to work with him, or everything went fine. But then later you see everything. I don't know, like Recently in the last few days, the Tom Cruise. I don't know if you guys saw the leaked video of him ranting on the set of Mission Impossible
I
7.
listened to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did listen to it.
like obviously we've had a tough year, and I guess he's probably stressed because he's a producer in Mission Impossible, he's an investor in the films, and we've had a tough year of COVID, and I know the USA has had it much worse than in New South Wales. We're blessed here. We're basically back to normal. Like we've had full venues of crowds. We're back. We're allowed 50 people at homes for gatherings. Like we just had a major boxing event like the last day. So we're grateful. Wow. We've handled it pretty well here, but I know it's been a stressful time, and I know he could have been stressed, and I know he's in the right. But as we were talking before about rubbing off on the crew, to go off like that, I'm like, I don't know what you guys think, but I guess rubbing on that negative energy instead of just ranting like that and swearing, maybe just like as Ian was saying before, hey, let's take a calm approach. And I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on it.
Well, honestly, like, I mean, I think we've definitely been in those situations where the heat is on and you're feeling it from every angle. And
yeah.
Like I said, like there's something there, no doubt, that Tom Cruise is upset about that isn't meeting his standards. And that guy's done a ton of movies, but I can tell you, like, even Tom Cruise is a human being, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. and I think people forget that. And I think that when Tom Cruise is on a movie set and you see a video of him getting upset, that's all you see. You didn't see the before, you didn't see the after. You see the 25 films where he was cool as a cucumber and everybody loved him. So that's the kind of thing that I think is kind of missing out of those, because everything I've actually heard about Tom Cruise is that he's fantastic to work with, and a lovely human being, and that he works his ass off. And it could just be that, you know, he wasn't feeling great. He went out there, and someone did something that set him off, something maybe he told them not to do before. I haven't seen the video. I'm not quite sure what he's upset about, but
well, he's upset about the COVID stuff. They're not following the protocols.
Well, that could be upsetting. I get that.
That's letting him have it, you know, because
it's dangerous. That's life-threatening at this point in most people's minds.
And he had a fair point.
So that's the context.
He had a fair point talking about like people's jobs being at stake, and people have families to feed. Like in terms of like, if the production gets shut down, it doesn't only have an effect on him; it has an effect on everyone working on the production. So I guess he had one of those moments. And as a producer on my film, I had to have the COVID protocols as well. You have to go through everything as well. So compare that to Mission Impossible 7, where he's a producer as well. Every crew member's sort of like every crew member's role is based on him, like making sure that every COVID protocol is followed. And then I guess he had that just one moment where we've all had that one rage moment, but I think no one, like as Ian was saying, no one knew what happened before, how he was before, like what could have been going on. But yeah, I guess we just got to move on from it. Like it doesn't make him a bad person, just that one moment. As Ian was saying, people have been saying he's cool as a cucumber on set, he's a great person. It's just one moment, and we've all had it. We can all relate to it. I've had that moment many times where all the swear words in my head or whatever I want to say in my head actually comes out, and it happens.
Sure. Yeah. Like I remember thinking, my wife and I have had this conversation a couple of times, but it's just like every time one of these kind of moments happen to an actor or to somebody in the business or anywhere, honestly, like we always talk about, like, I don't know, you know, I love my wife, she loves me, and I don't even drink, or I don't tip myself in a certain way to where I lose control that often because of some stimulant that I'm on or whatever, you know, but I can only imagine that exacerbates the situation. But when my wife and I have had arguments or fights, like it has gotten nasty. We've said unpleasant things to each other. And that was only just two people who love each other, who are in the heat of battle or in the heat of moment with each other, and have said horrible things that I didn't mean and were just meant to hurt the other person at that time, which is shitty, but everybody does it. It's just a human thing. And I think, you know, the older you get, the more experience you get, the more you try to work on that. The less you do it, thank goodness. But everybody has those moments, I think, throughout their entire lives that they regret, or that they think, you know, man, I said something there that I didn't mean, and I just said it because I was trying to get the other person upset. And that's usually why those things are said, not necessarily because there's some deep entrenched belief in something nutty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think, look, man, these COVID protocols are serious business, and we all want to go back to work. And I think, you know, Mission's probably absolutely under really harsh scrutiny, and there's a lot of pressure on that whole team. So I can you got to abide by the rules, and none of us here know the context of which he was upset about.
Every team's under pressure at the moment, like with all films being pushed back. It's not just Mission Impossible 7, it relates to all of them as well. It just so happened that, some guy recorded Tom Cruise's voice, and because it's Tom Cruise, he's made it in Hollywood. Like, it's, Tom Cruise went off at someone. But, like, people have to understand that Tom Cruise is a human as well. He's just like us. Just because he's made it in Hollywood doesn't make him, like, sort of above everyone else. So he's just well known because of his job. Similar to how someone sort of like working at a firm or working at retail can be well known in that section, well known in that store. He's just well known on a grander scale, I guess. But yeah, like sort of everyone is well known in their field. So like if you work at a normal firm, you're well known there. He just so happens to be on a larger scale. So like you can go off anywhere. So it just happens. So
well, who's the chef, Ramsay? That's like
Gordon
known.
Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay.
They made a whole show around him going off on people.
He made,
really,
he made a whole show on ending people's careers in cooking. Like,
yeah, this is complete crap. What the H is going on back here? We got to shut this place down. I mean, he's super critical, and they made an entire show about it, and it's really entertaining. So, I mean, if someone can make a living off of it, you certainly shouldn't be too upset if someone just has a home.
Exactly, perfect. But yeah,
what's
yeah, go on.
Hold on, I'm blanking. What's the time travel movie that Tom did where he keeps going back in time?
Oh, Minority Report, is it? No.
Day After Tomorrow. What is it?
Yeah, that's it. The Groundhog's Day. It's Day After Tomorrow. Is it Day After Tomorrow?
No, I can't remember.
Day After Tomorrow. Is that Tom Cruise? Day After Tomorrow? The one where
Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise.
The movie poster is like Day After Tomorrow is a movie poster where it's like the Statue of Liberty in the snow, yeah? Or like
Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of
Tomorrow, yeah.
That's what it is. Thank you.
I like that.
What,
I really enjoy that.
I loved that movie.
Yeah.
Ian and I would jump at the chance to work with Tom. So Tom, if you're listening,
he's gonna come to my channel. Let's go. You know, all three. Tom, hook us up. All of us. But yeah, I'm sure you guys will get that opportunity, like in the future. Of course, you guys like. I know just from speaking from Ian, your work ethic, and obviously you had the opportunity to work with Mel Gibson, a fellow Aussie boy. So, well, not boy, but like you had the opportunity to work with Mel Gibson, Walton Goggins. I think that would have been fantastic as well. And so I was speaking to Ian about.